Now please welcome Danny Baron. He will be singing us a song.
سلام عليكم كل يخون. ألم حاسهن ولا منخن دعاني قربان دي زلن داذي أمتك وأخني حاليا موجودين يخ إذا حكم ناشئ موجودين يخ حتى تاو خان قربان داذي أمتك بدون تردد كذا أني تناي خنا يقولنا بس أنا قاعدين وجاهزين دؤذن باني تناي ومن خلال أزمرتي ديك موذنا دا أمتا آين زي محكى عن من دي ديثن بلبي دا كلين ناشديدان كاميرا أتخاكم بالبيشنة هشر همز متمنة ونبيت يتترابا باقر الله دجمنة أتخاكم بالبيشنة هشر همز متمنة ونبيت يتترابا باقر الله دجمنة بريلا وداتا صيرة وجلي وخ من قاوان تويرة ولي وخ أخنا نمير الله هتخي وخ بيشة ميرة بريلا وداتا صيرة وجلي وخ من قاوان تويرة ولي وخ أخنا نمير الله هتخي وخ بيشة ميرة أخنا نمول بخقا دنيا مردوطة وقصر بنيا ولي وخ كوتا شاقنيا وهم عشاي وقنيا أخنا نمول بخقا دنيا مردوطة وقصر بنيا ولي وخكوتا شاقنيا وهم عشاي وقنيا بريلا وداتا صيرة وجلي وخ من قاوان تويرة ولي وخ أخنا نمير الله هتخي وخ بيشة ميرة. بتمنى خنو الملبخ يالا وبناثا حتى داري هذه أرخى وهذا بيشغ بشحل وبشحل وبتاوخ إذا. شكرا جزيلا.
خيا قانو داني مقرون قاتو خنخاتي فينيسيا إيلو.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Shaman Lochon, Shimi Ile Vinicia Ilo. Hello everybody, my name is Vinicia Ilo, and thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for showing up for our community. On the 7th of August each year, Assyrians around the world stand together in reverence and remembrance, not only to reflect on the past, but to renew our solemn pledge to the martyrs who gave their lives in defense of our people, our identity, and our dignity. This day was chosen to commemorate the Simele massacre of 1933, during which thousands of innocent Assyrians in Iraq were brutally killed. Yet Simele was not an isolated tragedy. It stands as a symbol of the countless Assyrian martyrs throughout our history, from the Sefo genocide during the First World War to the persecution, displacement, and violence our people have endured in recent decades. Assyrian Martyrs' Day is not only a day of mourning, it is a day of strength, resilience, and hope. It is a day to honor the men, women, and children who refused to abandon their faith, surrender their identity, or compromise their dignity. They paid the ultimate price so that future generations like myself could live with freedom, justice, and honor. Those who sought to silence an ancient nation failed to understand that the blood of the martyrs would become the seed of our survival. Their sacrificed lives on through every generation, reminding us of our sacred responsibility to preserve our language, protect our heritage, strengthen our unity, and continue to advocate peacefully for the rights of our people. Today, we bow our heads in profound respect before the memory of all of our martyrs. We offer our prayers for their souls and renew our commitment to ensure that their sacrifices will never be forgotten. Their legacy continues to inspire us, guide us, and remind us that the spirit of the Assyrian nation remains unbroken. Glory and eternal honor to our martyrs. May their souls rest in peace. May God bless and protect the Assyrian people wherever they may be. And may the memory of our martyrs live forever in our hearts. Thank you.
Shalom Aleichem. My name is Anthony, and I'll be giving a small speech this evening about something I am passionate about. August 7th in the Assyrian community is recognized as a day we remember our martyrs, one that should be recognized by the world. A day simply isn't enough for what our people have endured throughout history. For over a millennium, Assyrians have been persecuted and kept down primarily for their faith, something we still see today. What we don't realize is we are possibly the most persecuted group throughout history, and yet no light shines on our struggle as we push to keep our identity alive and our presence in our native lands. Although we call ourselves proud Assyrians, noticeably there's a bit of shame that we carry being assimilated in the diaspora. We fail to educate our children on the importance of speaking our language, and we oftentimes fail to speak to our youth in it as well. Parents are not only at fault for this, but young people as well, as I've noticed some carry shame in their background being born in diaspora, while others find it more convenient not to speak in it, and in that process the language is forgotten. This might sound harsh, but our situation is in a bad position, and we need to acknowledge it. Assimilation in many ways is inevitable and impossible to ignore, but that doesn't mean in all aspects. A language so beautiful and rich with unique history that it's going away right before our eyes, and we don't take enough accountability for it. You might be wondering why I'm fixated on this. Well, the survival of our tongue is a testament of who we are, the direct connection of our ancestors, and the language of our church. It is the most important aspect of Assyrian identity, I believe. The irony is that this speech is being conducted in English. However, those that know me understand the love I have for our language, so please don't let that overshadow the message. 2,000 years of us speaking this language only for it to be disappearing quickly and quietly. Globalization is our biggest opponent in this battle to keep it alive. With every person's effort, we can achieve a lot, and I'm sure of it because Assyrians always strive for excellence and are known for their work ethic, devotion, and success. I hope something can be taken away from this and that it doesn't continue to be ignored. UNESCO currently classifies our language as endangered, so I ask all community leaders, friends, and everybody to spread awareness of this matter. I am willing to talk more about this afterwards, but for now, thank you for listening.
ما يخلقون خامر قال مهنيانا وخبران بسيمة من أمقة لبا خاتم ما خورتا نوها لازار
سلام اللوخن شمد مشحتة دي إلى ما بارو حكيمة مير خيومة مقنوعة دذوة إنه وردة بش حلوية لبن زبلة إلى بش ساناية من مقنوعة خامزة بنان دقيانة بين قوسين خاين دم هيمن إلى أمتا بش أقرن من بارو كبيرة خشوي سميلة إلى بس خدوكا زود الخمشة البناشة بقاوح بش ليقطيلة بنخلة وإلى خق الصتة خاقاي بشاتك تخرخلة ومع حورك ودي عذعيذ وكثوي محروم شحياثة وهذا كم يقرخلة وقمششته ريشان تقب واندق محكي بشمة سوراي قو شلطة قلوشي قاط ورباط وكم رجازيل حسمي لها محاسيلة وأبد لقنا شخلة وأنا ثيلي إديو آخد أمرا سميلي ليلة خماثة الزمرخ بشمح مطربخلة سميلي ليلة خقنحة دباخخ إلا حمعد دخلة وليلة حشتا سنيوثا تبعد دواون خقايب شاتا مخثثخلة وأمرخ أخني وأخني لقنا شخلة وديرة في يومه منشخ مدميرن وسميله قورح بثيخة ودلمر واثة شوق أخلا كمري كينوثة العدالة قمشيلة بس لقميثة وحقوثة ليلس نقتل مصيوح ومعلو يتقالا وناشد قداوح قيانح تعمس سخلة إلى مخ آوى دق موقف قيانح تد مبهر أورخة تناشا كورا وسميله إلى إطلافوتش يشن بالهاية وأخني سميوخ هل إديو ليوخ بدآلة أورخة سميله إلى إطلافوتش يشن بقرايا وأخني كريوخ القالد هاوارح ليوخ بشمايا سول زونا وسميله هل إديو يوما إلى مخيال زور المرواثح ببخايا سميلي إلى خجرحة لك في الخياطة وخخطيثة لك في الشراية وخقالة لك في المشتوقة سميلي إلى دولثد للشلطانة إلى خمرقد للتدرمانة سميلي إلى لكد نخبة البقوينن إد أخني هل إدي يوما لهو اللي بنزد قحشق لخلة إلى نيشن دك ثبتة أخني إيوخ محيلة ولك خشخخ ادهاوخ ناطور الأودم محتكم شبخيلة سميلي إلى خطف لك بينا ولت إداثة إلى خيمة اقتليلي يا لحقامح ويصير كمح وبقئ إناثة سميلي إلى خبابة كم تعدي لبناثح قامح وقيس إداثح وتروي أقلاثة سميلي إلى خلبة جريحة بصدرا لتدرمانون يخته ودمح ترينه رواثة سميلي إلى دشتد ننوت كم قنويلة وسحيت من أحمر واثة سميلي إلى كل إيتتكم توريلة سميلي إلى مر بنيامن ومر فرج رح وكل قاشتكم قطليلة سميلي إلى أوبرنتكم قنويلة سميلي إلى شمن قطاتكم أوذيلة سميلي إلى سهذا يوبرت يوخنا يوسف وألباي خن سهذا سورة يقطيلة سميلي إلى خأقرتد له اللي بنت قارخلة سميلي إلى خصلي ويقورة أي طلافوتش يشن الخاصن كم مطقنيلة سميلي إلى قاغلتا كل أمتنا يتامك مصلويلة إلى قاغلتا كل أمتنا يتامك مصلويلة كد أمرت أمتنا يود ولم تعدد بزدقا لم تعدد بزدقة سميلة دقلان يود كد أمرت أخني طلافي وخلي وخا عدواوان يود أخني بس إبن خالو خنا دخت كامر مثة بابي ليب إلا اليمي أخني خال خنا أريه وخ بس قم خنك بيشخ إربا إن خامنن محكيله وعليله وبلخله كلن خضرخ التورخله أخني خال خنا دجمني وخ ودجمن ديا قامن وكشوق أخله قدايش إلا وكم يقرخله قانوا أراثن وكم طربخله ليلة بيدعون قويله لا ليلة بيدعون قويله إلا بيديوخ أخني زدوءه ما باره إن دارخ إذا بإذا كلن تتقاوخ ما باره إن دارخ قال القالة تدعى لقالا ما بار إن سندخالو خنا تدلتورخ ما باره إن بيشخ مختلافق نوم بخجيانا ما بار إن ليمخ كلن خيوم وخزخ ميلي إبن إيكي لعلثة ومدر منخلة ما بار إن متخملخ بأمته تشقالت زدقا لا تبار ما بار إن هو كرسي وشلطة خأرخد ماطخ الحقوثا لا تدمالغ جيبابه ما بار ما بار ما بار هاوتن بسيمة
هذه مطيلة أن الأرخد إيقارة ميقرأ في راس جدو قد يولن برزنتيشن ديو قمت شارخت لن خبايوغرافي قرية على فينيسيا قالوخن بغرد الطلبخ من أخونا فراس أو باوند مقرولة برزنتيشن ديو.
Please welcome Firas Fauzi Jattu, an entrepreneur, community leader, and long-term advocate for the Assyrian people. Currently the president and CEO of AI technology company MemoryX. Firas has been a driving force in both the tech industry and in the Assyrian cultural, political, and humanitarian initiatives for over 3 decades. Born in Baghdad, Firas left Iraq as a teenager, eventually settling in North America. In 1993, while completing his master's degree in engineering at the University of Toronto, he became a pioneer of the Assyrian digital presence by creating Assyria Online, widely recognized as the first Assyrian website on the World Wide Web. He later co-founded the Assyrian International News Agency, establishing one of the leading global sources for Assyrian affairs. His leadership extends deeply into the community. He has served as the president of the United Assyrian Youth of Canada and the Assyrian Academic Society. Additionally, he has lent his expertise to the editorial boards of the Nineveh newspaper in Toronto, the Journal of the Assyrian Academic Society, and Nineveh magazine in San Francisco. As an early investor in development projects in the Nineveh Plains, Firas remains deeply dedicated to strengthening the Assyrian presence in our historic homeland. Today, Firas splits his time between Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Ankawa, Erbil, with his wife Susan and their son, Tatian. He continues to write, speak, and share his vision for the future of the Assyrian nation, as recently featured on the Assyrian podcast. Please join me in welcoming Firas Jettu.
بسم ترابا من قرطة فينيسا بنيوم تم مخبة قد سقشيشة رابي يوسف قيومة زوعة ديمقراطية عطرايا راب يول قيومة خيارة ولاية هاتون بسيمة رابط ليقارة قد هون منوخن إديو يوما بقى يوما أنقايا قديشة دخرانة سهدن عطرايا. The title of my talk is A Haven Among Brothers, the Chaldean and Syriac Sanctuary for Assyrians during the Semela Massacre. من خمدي بصورة أن يومانا أن يكخ خرايا بخزاي خرابة إيتن جغوشيا وإيتن رابا همزميات وبريشيد وسوشيال ميديا اتوادل بكولاغا وأمتن بين تلاسامة من أمتن عطوريتا من هذا أنا قيتها لقد أنا من ديانا متخرنو اتلي هيوي قد شغليتنو من نوخن اتلي صور شغليتنو أنا ملوءة من نوخن منطيتنو قيالوخن قماني يطيتن قد يطي وخا أمتا ملبخلو من دي يعني. So my talk will focus a little bit about some events that actually happened, documented events that show the unity of our people regardless of religious affiliation or regional affiliation. First, Assyrian Martyrs Day. It is a day honoring every Assyrian who died for what they believed in. This is not just a Semele Massacre Remembrance Day. It's for Ahmed Rabbi Yosef. It's for all our heroes who died for what they believe in for the past 2,600 years. So any Assyrian martyr that died for what he believes in throughout the ages is to be honored today. However, we had to select one day. And in 1970, the Assyrian Universal Alliance had a meeting in Cologne, Germany, where many people came in from Russia, from the US, from Australia, from various places, Syria, Turkey, and agreed to have that on August 7th, okay, in 1970. Why did they choose that? These are the top 5 reasons, okay? Sometimes this gets forgotten, so that's why we need to remind everyone. Number 1, it was a state-sanctioned event. This wasn't some group that came together and said, let's go attack that village or let's go attack that town. It was the government of Iraq said, go after the Assyrians, okay? It was the first and largest military operation of the newly independent Iraqi state. Iraq was formed, made into a country, and the largest operation that took place by the military was after the Assyrians. So it's of significant importance. And this wasn't just a ground attack, there was an Air Force attack as well. So state sanctioned, remember those please. Number 2, was targeted persecution. One could argue, well, sometimes it's regional, it's village against village, it was against Christians, or it was against non-Muslims, or non-Arabs, or racial. No, this was against Assyrians. It wasn't a general, and just so happened we were the victims. It was focused on Assyrians. Some of my relatives are from Mosul. They were not harmed, for example, because they said, we're Arab Christian, leave us alone, so they left him alone. Those that believed in who they are were attacked. So it was targeted. Number three, the human cost. This wasn't an incident. Sometimes you'll see papers like by Husri that says, the Assyrian affair, the Samela event, they try to minimize it, including the British. They tried to minimize it because they were trying to make Iraq into a state that's accepted by the League of Nations and to become a country, and they gave their word that nothing will happen, so they tried to minimize it. But this was significant. Over 5,000, some say 6,000 lives were lost. The British at one point said 300, but when the names and villages came out, they couldn't hide it. Then it became 600, and the number continued to climb. 5,000 at least is what we know so far with the recent, as we learn more and more about what happened. So the human cost was significant. The regional devastation, many people think the Samela massacre was in Samela. No, it was many villages all around Samela. So we know of over 63 villages looted, burned, centered around Samela. Okay, 63 villages. Even that number continues to climb. 50, then we have more research and more archives and shows more, and as you count them, no, this village wasn't counted, this village was counted. 63 villages, imagine that, okay? And by the way, 5,000 is a large number compared to the population of Iraq at that time. This is not a small number. And finally, I think Vanessa was saying, this is not just a day of mourning. This is a day to honor our heroes. And we should remember that that day was chosen also because we had some courageous heroes. Honors those who defended against impossible odds. The newly formed Iraqi state had an army that came after the Assyrian armed folks at the border between Syria and Iraq. And not only did they hold their ground, they defeated the Iraqi army. The news came to Baghdad that this small group was able to defend themselves and defeat the Iraqi army, that the Air Force had to come in and bomb them in Deir Aboun in order to defeat them. We should take pride in our heroes. We should give us energy to work for our people, knowing what these courageous, brave Assyrian fighters did. They didn't do this, just because. It's because to defend their families, their people, and their future as well. So these are, I would say, the top 5 reasons why Shawwal Tabbakh, August 7th, was chosen as the Assyrian Martyrs' Day. We can name others, but these, in my personal opinion, are the top reasons. There's a very nice document that, the minutes in 1970 from called Germany by the Assyrian Universal Alliance that documents why they chose it, and many of these are in there. So it's really good forward thinking by the AUA at the time. So I'm going to give you one statement by one little girl. I know it's a lot of text, but just to give you, there are many statements, but just one statement because it has so many incidents happening in one statement from a 12-year-old girl. On the 13th of August, I was in the village of Bede, district of Duhok. On that day, we saw about 40 policemen and Kurds with police uniforms coming to Bede. They went from house to house, arresting men, and I saw with my own eyes that they selected 4 young men and shot them down there and then. They took other men to the mosque and the mullah of the village. These were all old men, and the mosque, they were asked whether they would embrace Mohammedanism, Islam. As the first man refused to do so, one of the policemen knocked him down with the butt of his rifle and then shot him dead. They asked the other two others who have been seen the fate of the first man, were terrified and did not dare to say no. I don't have the whole statement. Afterwards, she sees how, after they said, okay, we'll convert, they took him to the mosque, they taught him how to do this. You have to get your children to be also embrace that Islam. So there was forced conversion as well. So you saw there's murder of unarmed men, there was forced conversion so far. Still one statement by one 12-year-old girl. The policemen remained in the village for 5 hours, sending away on mules the loot which they took from Assyrians in the village. They basically robbed them. There's looting as well. About evening, they arrested a young woman and took her to the village of Kazu. So this is the path. You see Badeh village and Kazu is in Zawita. This is northeast of Duhok, not very far. If you ever visit the homeland, you can see them. That picture there on the left is Badeh. This village is all Kurdish now. So we're talking about land grabs. Here's one. There's no mention of us even existing there. So rape, murder, forced conversion, all with one statement that I was hoping to kind of embody what has been happening there. Okay? Now, this little girl stayed there. She hid there. I remained 5 days in Badeh, and on the 6th day, I was secretly taken out of the village by an Assyrian policeman and was then sent to Mosul. So I wanted to talk about other heroes. Some died, some remained alive, but also heroes of saving a lot of lives. Some of you have heard of Schindler's List. We had our own version of it. So I wanted to bring one that's very close to me personally. Who of you know of this monastery in the mountains? Der Marmette, right? It's a beautiful monastery. This is obviously, it's been rebuilt. The older one is right behind it. A lot of the old bricks is still there. Beautiful monastery way up in the mountains. This is the view looking at it once you reach it. It's way up in the mountains. This is what it looks like. That's the road that's been that you take to get to it. And this is from the monastery, way up there. This policeman saved hundreds of Assyrian lives. For those that don't know, that's a cave made by the monks in ancient times, so they can see through if the Persians used to come in to come after the Christians, and he would give a signal to the monastery so they can go hide behind the mountain. So that was used at the time. So it has a very, it's very ancient and historic site. So this police chief, his name is Chetu Mirza Roho, was the police chief of in Accra. And a telegram was received. 3 lorries, 3 trucks will come in, open air trucks, to Duhok. You are to collect all the Assyrians and bring them to Semel. That night he didn't sleep. Is Adam here? Adam? Where's Adam? I've heard the story from his mother, who's the daughter of this police chief. He didn't sleep that night. She was older. She said, Dad, why don't you sleep? He said, I can't sleep. I'm asked to do something that I cannot do. So next morning, he got in, took the 3 trucks, gathered all the people. They were packed like sardines, about 3 trucks. And people from the roofs of Duhok, those from Bihannabede saw this, and they've also confirmed this with me, saw the trucks going. Children, women, men, all gathered to be taken to Duhok, to Semele, I'm sorry. Those that know, if you get out of Duhok, you can go right and you go to Semele. If you go left, you go away from Duhok, you go the other path, and you go all the way. When he got to that turn, he told his police that worked for him, because he was the chief, go left. They said, but Semele is this way. He said, go left. He took him to Marmette. At the bottom, there wasn't a clear road. They took them all up. Some were elderly. They carried them and took them to the top. He said, where's the head monk? The head monk came in. He said, you see these people? You're going to keep them here. I'm going to send my officers to bring food and water. I'll come in sometimes. You're going to take care of them, and you want to make sure they don't get sick, they don't get hungry, they don't get thirsty. I'll be coming in randomly to visit. And he had his gun with the bayonet. The monks wear a long robe. He put it in between his legs, the bayonet. He said, I will be coming and checking. If I see anyone dead or sick or crying or has been abused, this bayonet will come up through your chest to your face. And the head monk said, you don't have to say that to me. Of course we'll take care of them. These are our people. They stayed there for several weeks, and when the situation got better, they were taken to Mosul, where they can mix with the people and it's less obvious. So 300 people were saved by Police Chief Chetu. This police chief happens to be my grandfather. This station, my son, who visited Marmette, And I told him the story there. This is last year, I believe. Patients right there who can't wait to get back. So those of you that have studied Samela may have heard the story because it was published in some books by some scholars like Professor Sargon Donabed. You've also heard Elpush, the heroic position that Elpush did. What I've learned that I'm sharing with you are other stories. So when I was speaking to folks in some of the villages around Samela, and I told them, have you heard of Chetu? And they said, yes. They told me it wasn't just there. That happened also in Mariapo. So those are Shiyos in Mariapo, if you know that village. There was also Mariapo. This was the monastery. This is that one was Syrian Orthodox monastery who helped their people, because the church affiliation is one thing, but we're one people. Here, this is a Chaldean, Dominican monastery. It's a beautiful monastery. I have other pictures of it. It's amazing. They hid hundreds there. And the people are telling me also some Assyrian policemen brought people here as well. They're telling me, yeah, it was Chetu, but I'm not sure about that one. I haven't confirmed it. With the one in Marmate, I know for a fact, but apparently this one as well. It could have been other policemen, because there are other Assyrian policemen in Barzan. So maybe it was others, or it could be the same. But also many families hid here. And they're actually documented pictures of it. You see there, the top, those that can read Arabic, لاجئون عاشورين في دير مارياقو للآباء الدومينيكان عام 1933. So Assyrian refugees in Mariapo Monastery for the Dominican Fathers, 1933. Unfortunately, I visited this. This is not, just easy to get to. You have to walk for about an hour to get to it. This is what's left over of the monastery. That beautiful monastery is completely destroyed. Now, why it was destroyed? It was by the Iraqi Air Force later on, not during 1933. It was bombed because they thought there were people hiding there. But unfortunately, that part of our history is gone forever. It's a beautiful area hidden between mountains all around it. So you couldn't see it from the street or from the plains itself. But here too, as you can see, many Assyrian families took refuge, and who protected them? Our own people of the Chaldean Church. So Syrian Orthodox Church, Chaldean Church didn't care what church you belong to. Where one people were going to help you. And by the way, they took tremendous risk because the government of Iraq wanted to show that these are criminals, and look, the other Christians love what the government is doing, but they were threatening them. We'll come after you if you don't let them go, if you don't release them. But they continued. Now, of course, many may know about Alpush. This is a Chaldean village that sheltered hundreds as well. Armed villagers. These guys were more tough. Armed villagers took arms around the village and basically said to the army, if you want to take us on, come on in. We're going to protect these people. They gave them 48 hours. Let the Assyrians come out. They said, we don't know who's Assyrian, who's not Assyrian. We're all the same. And they defended it at great pressure. They had to maneuver some of the political aspect where some priests had to say, we are against what the Assyrians did, they're criminals, so they don't go after the village for treason, because they could have bombed it. They brought artillery to go after the whole village for treason. But there was some political maneuvering by the priests as well. And this happened in Mosul as well. But they protected hundreds here as well. More recently, I've learned of it. We keep learning more and more of what happened. Karamles is in the Nineveh Plains. This is largely Chaldean Catholic village. The name Karamles is an ancient name. It's Karmulisu, the fort of Mulisu. Mulisu was an Assyrian goddess. There are ancient Assyrian sites in this village that are beautiful. So a fellow Qusay on the web found these documents that was documented by the mayor of Karamles of all the people they took in that they protected in 1933, so they don't, out of harm. And he has a list of 45 families that were protected in Karamles. And I just did a zoom on 3 of the names. And I don't know if you can see Odish, think Franco, or I can't see from an angle. Okay, Sanati Athuri, Dawood Yohanna, Jilui Athuri. So you can see those that they know even from what village or from what region they came, they had it all documented. 45 families were protected here. This is just from last year. We kind of learned about it through someone from that village. Who knows what we're going to find out later on? But there may be many other places that protected and took Assyrians to protect them. So I know I took a little too long. I was told 15 minutes. This is it. So, okay. What I wanted to say is, as you can see, we are one people, one memory. Don't let the noise and the social media get in the way. In 1933, no one asked which church you belong to before opening their doors. Whether outsiders called us Athuri, Kildani, Jacobite, Nestorian, Papist, the names others gave to us never divided who we are. Don't let it happen now in 2026. Our forefathers taught us the lesson we honor today, that we are one nation. I hope you give this message to whoever you see, especially in Detroit. We have 180,000 people here, of our people. So I hope you do that, and that's what I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Firas. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for sharing such a beautiful and meaningful history presentation with us tonight. Your words brought us our history to life and reminded us of the sacrifices, struggles, and strength of our people. Presentations like yours are so important because they keep our history alive and help the younger generation understand where we came from and what our ancestors endured. We truly appreciate your time, your knowledge, and your passion for preserving our Assyrian history. Thank you for giving us this wonderful presentation and for being part of this important occasion. Thank you. أخواتي خطواتي الأخ بتاعي الختام الدعاء خرزة قنان منتخ من كل لوخن تشرك لوخن أمان قداء يوم قديشة بريشايد أرخنتينتي من رخقة شتوب لنمان رابي قشيشة أمير قشيشة لورنس شاعر مغمتة نوها لازار وكل لوخن هايتو بسيمة رابطي توخن. Thank you.